Hello, family. Hello, hello, hello. I'm waiting on some of y'all to get up in here. Wait on some of y'all to get in here, and then I will start shadow work sessions today. I am. I guess I could say I feel good today. Like I went out walking and stuff after I had to take care of some business today. But I feel good, family. Right? I feel good. Feel real good. So I've been exercising. That's why I look like this. I ain't do nothing to myself today. So excuse me. Hey Sharon, welcome in, love. Hey, 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 hey. Today we are talking about karmic debts, okay? And how it applies in reference of the planetary alignment. Um, and I know a lot of people really look at karmic debt just in one aspect of things. Um, but a lot of times, hey, Sandra, a lot of times, the way people look at or know about karmic debt, or even maybe not even ever heard about karmic debt, the information online, right? So I'm going to talk about that today, and I'm going to use myself as an example. And you can look at your own self and realize what your karmic debt is. I know some of you don't know about astrology, astronomy, spiritual astrology, but it's about bringing the sun and the moon, right? Together, which we are, right? The star. And it's about tapping into your past lives. You know what I'm saying? Your past lives is basically stuff that rolls into this current life. All of that happens based off of your footprint on this earth, which is your date of birth. Okay. That's why when we do the wheel, that's why when we do many things, it's all about the numerology, right? And the codes that are encoded in your numerology, which all stands from when you took your first breath here on this earth. So, with that being said, the karmic debt is already sort of written, right? Not sort of, it is, right? So, I wanted to show you guys how, even in my life and learning spiritual astrology and astronomy, and numerology, how it has applied and how I have been able to pay attention and watch it play out in my life as well. Um, but I've also tapped into my past life and all those type of things too. So I kind of know some things. But on the other part of that, you don't even really have to know a lot in reference to your past life. What you really need to be dealing with is what you're here to do and what's your mission now, and how you can handle that by taking care of the things that you need to conquer, which is that moon aspect of things, right? We know, if you don't know, okay, from anything shadow work sessions, and I do have Beethoven playing in the background. Moonlight Sonata is my favorite by him. It's classical music. I do listen to that, 432 megahertz. Make sure you get yours in, okay? That's gonna raise your vibration, okay? So classical music, jazz, other than hip hop and all that kind of stuff, okay? Um, but family, so tonight we're talking about moon energy, right? We're talking about the karmic debt, but we're going to also talk about how, and I'm going to show you some of the things of what I've seen online that is compared to what I now know, right? Because now I have tapped into my ancestors. I have learned from the best spiritual teacher, right? And I now know that some of the information that you see online and you find online, some of it is like some accurate, but majority of it is not, right? Because they don't want you to be in alignment to save thyself. Okay. That's why we have the Western instead of the true sidereal, which is really what is in the sky, what you can see with your own eye. But that's another story. But I do want you to realize that your karmic debt is definitely something that's real. Okay. And it does occur in reference of your will. Okay. A lot of you in here on my Patreon, you've already had your will readings. So you have your information in reference of, every part of your will I go over in will readings, right? And if you go back to that reading with what I'm talking about today, you're going to see and hear a lot of that karmic debt that's even in your west or in your north or your south, wherever it may lie. You'll be able to resonate with what I'm saying, because it comes from, that's why I always tell you guys when I'm doing your wheel, it's looking at your full numerology of your life, right? So, and that goes back to the planetary alignment of when you basically was going through the certain steps in your life. But a lot of that comes in reference of things that happened in your past life too, okay? But I'm going to start on the first thing about the karmic debt that I want you. Well, first thing I'm going to start on is about the moon sign, okay? So moon energy is, in spiritual astrology, the moon energy is what you would pull that karmic debt number from, or either your life path number, okay? I say both, right? Because your moon in spiritual astrology is your day of birth, okay? But your life path number, which is the number where you add up your whole birthday, one digit at a time, single digitally, and you bring it down to one number, that's the number that they utilize as your karmic debt number, okay? They give you that number so you can understand and have it broken down to you of what it is that your karmic debt may be. But in Western and not in spiritual astrology, they only give you that to show you that, okay, if you have these 4 numbers, then you have karma debt. No, everybody has karmic debt, okay? So that's the part I don't agree with, and that's the part that is kind of like takes people out of alignment. So I'm going to talk about that, okay? I don't know anything about it. Glad you're going over it, okay? Yeah, that's okay. Hey, Eldra. So the first thing you need to know is that the moon sign, just like you have a sun sign, you have a moon sign, and you have a rising sign, right? Where your moon sign is the one that plays the part in reference of your past and the present. That's why I'm bringing the moon element up, the moon sign up, okay? What you need to know about your moon sign, family, and why it goes along with your karmic debt, right? Is because your moon sign is responsible for your past. So your past would be whatever happened in your past in this lifetime as well as other lifetimes that would affect this day and time, that you're going around that wheel and how you choose to live it. Okay, it's responsible for your attributes. It tells you about your internal side of self. Okay, no one sees that side. It's your shadow self, your moon energy. Okay, it's the fears, and it's the hidden parts that we suppress. It's the areas that we don't like people to know, right? Or we don't even like to face it, because a lot of people don't like to face their shadow self. Okay. That is that part of self that you should be repenting about, or you should be working on letting go of some things, replacing things, reassessing, reevaluating, transforming. These are all the things that you should be doing with that shadow energy, because you want to be in your highest self. You see? So the moon energy brings that moon sign, brings it in. It lets you know that it basically lets you know where you've come from in the past, what your past life was as well. It contributes to many things. Your moon sign, your moon energy is kind of like a birthmark, okay, for you. Your moon energy is also is where your inflictions lie in this lifetime. Okay, so we must conquer this lifetime. Okay, so that's why the moon element in the moon sign is something that I have to bring to you to let you know that goes along as a major piece of the puzzle when it has to do with karmic debt. Okay, and how do you know your moon sign? Well, in spiritual astrology, you know your moon sign based off of it being the day you were born. Okay, which I was born on the 2nd All right, so that's 2. So 2 would be, again, Gemini in the VEDIC or in the true sidereal, okay? Okay, well, in spiritual astrology, it will be 2. It will be Gemini, but in the planetary alignment, it would be Mercury. So that's how I look at it. I basically have a moon in Mercury. And you know what that means? That is what I need to conquer this lifetime, which is about my life, my living conditions, my lifespan, my home life, right? Many things are on Mercury: communication, right? Technology, right? Things that happen with my father, that's father, right? All those things have been affected me in my life. So I can tell you it's true. You see? So my moon is Mercury. That's if your birthday is 2. Right. So put in here, we're going to start by this first so you can kind of see before I go into the charts and go into the actual things they have online to show you the difference. But put in here what's the day you were born, and I will tell you what planet coincides with that, okay? Put it in the chat. Like mine is 2. I'm going to just put that. That's my moon. My moon is 2. Put in the chat what your moon is. 29. Okay, to be divine. That's Aries. Okay? That's Aries. The second. So you're a 2 as well. You're a 2 as well, Miss Sharon. You're a 2. So you Mercury as well. Vision problems, right? It's your moon. These are things you have to conquer. Living conditions. You might have moved a lot of places. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Actually, Aries, ERIS. This would be the planetary alignment for you, Eldra, with 29, right? I know, because that's my ship. That's a planetary alignment that you need to conquer many things of being divine. That would be your moon. Things on there is about, many things. I can tell you many things about this. I mean, it's in the ladder, but you have this. It's like Aries has the power to control all the wheel, but Aries is also Virgo energy, so it's really like you're a Virgo moon. You see what I'm saying? Like my moon is 2. Like Miss Sharon was saying, her moon is 2 as well. Mercury is Pisces, so we really would look at it like a Pisces moon if you're looking at it on the ladder. And if you think about some of the things in your life, right? In your life, think about the things that may have happened. Now, on Aries, okay, teenage pregnancy, okay, being divine. Let's see what else is on here. It just says connected to Earth. So I know that for a fact because I love to deal with like herbs, things like that. Oh yeah, Aries is Virgo. Because that's my ship. And I'm a Virgo moon in the true sidereal. Okay. So it's yes, me too. Right? I was too, Eldra, teenage pregnancy. Yup, me too. But these are the things we supposed to conquer. You see how that's our moon? That's our shadow. You see? So it's really like, yeah, that's our moon, and those are things that we have that have happened that may, we may have been shot upon, or it may have been something in the darkness that we had to bring through the light. It may have been traumatic in our life in some shape, form, or fashion based off of that planetary alignment, based on the ladder. Yeah. So that's that moon element. That's that karmic debt, because something in your past reflected that energy to be in your wheel in this lifetime. That's what I'm trying to say. See? So it gets very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Yes, to be divine. You know what I'm saying? And but the Aries moon, like you have, your energy is to conquer wisdom, ancient wisdom. Also, motherly relationships, legal situations. You see how that works? Around home life, around living conditions. You see how that works? Because you take that 9 and that 2, and you have to work with both Ceres and Mercury because you have Aries. So it's a lot you have to break down, but if you break those numbers down, you'll start seeing the things that's happening in your life and you'll be like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? But to keep it simple, I wanted to work on our life path because then you could kind of see it based off of how they have it written in everything online, right? But I wanted to show you guys, using us as an example, how your moon has been affected by something from your past life or something in the past of this lifetime that you need to conquer. Like me, my moon is Mercury. Like I said, that Mercury, I had to conquer, my pops not being in my life a lot of, when I was younger, right? So I had to conquer that, then that being some type of element of needing a father in my life, right? And then to conquer Mercury energy, it's about Pisces energy, which is about endurance. So what I endured is what I have to conquer. You see? Also, Mercury energy is about living conditions. I've lived in many places. I still have situations around my living conditions. You know what I'm saying? Mercury energy goes back to that too. You see? So it's a lot that I can tell you about in reference of your karmic debt that comes off of that straight moon energy alone before we even get to the life path, you see? And I know because I've compared it to my life. You see? So I'm going to get into the actual, you said the same, Ms. Sharon? Yes. Yeah. And you probably wear glasses because most moon in Mercury, we have vision issues in some shape, form, or fashion, whether it's you coming down to, wearing contacts or having some type of vision problem later on in life. That's there as well. I have a lot, Father, and I do wear glasses. See? Yeah. Yeah. That's the things we had to conquer as Mercury. Work with Mercury. And I'm gonna do a video of that. I've been working with Mercury myself to send love, healing to that planetary alignment to assist us to get through this drama, right? Here in this lifetime. So we'll talk about that later. But that is a prime example. Yes, you said it's a lot, but I want to know I have my, yes, you got your ladder. So you can go back to the ladder. Hey, Fatima. Hey, sis. So you definitely can go back and look at Aries and look on their Eldra and compare it to the things that you need to conquer this lifetime. That's your moon. See? Okay, so let's look at the other part of the karmic debt, okay? Because I want us to look at different parts of the karmic debt. So these are slides, family, that not slides, because I ain't gonna be able to show y'all. I'm gonna have to just pull up my entire screen. Okay. Okay. So let me see what I got. Okay, so this is pretty much about past life karma and karmic. The main thing about what I wanted to discuss is how the law of cause and effect, which is karma, reflects with your past life, your will. Hey, young girls. Hey, sis. And so I want to talk about that in a whole, how it affects us in many ways, how this is something that we need to conquer. This can give us some type of explanation of why you may be going through some things right now in your life. It all goes down, family, into numerology. I know they say that, there's no date and no time of when we're to leave this planet, but it truly is. The planetary alignment tells us that If you're vibrating low, if you're doing things that are causing you trauma in your life, then you're not going to live a long time. You know what I'm saying? So there's many things. There's many things, family. So as you see here, I am playing Beethoven in the back, family, for those that are coming in. That's my favorite Moonlight Sonata. I'm playing it because when I'm in my moon element, that's the energy I feel from that type of it's a classical song or classical music, right? 432 megahertz. So I was telling those that were in here earlier, utilize playing and listening to frequency-based music. Even if you have it running in the background like I do most of the time around the house, put it in your earphones in the car, something that's going to help you raise your vibration, because a lot of times the energy that comes off of music is also something that messes with our vibrations, family. Okay, seriously. Okay, so karmic debt, I wanted to show you guys this, right? And then I'm going to get into what they also have online about some of the things. But I just wanted to read this to you guys because I love this. I thought this was really good. And actually, I should have left this at the end. Yeah, let's do that. Let me get into this first, family, okay? All right. So first thing first was the karma debt, right? Karmic debt. So I wanted you to understand that this came off of a VEDIC website that I found. And some things, that's why I say you got to piece through some of the things that you find online when you know the actual truth, right? So this talks about karmic debt refers to spiritual obligations and lessons carried from past life into the present and based on actions and decisions made in previous incarnations. Is rooted in concept of karma, which means action or deed. Okay, karmic debt signifies the unresolved consequences of one's actions that must be balanced or resolved to achieve spiritual growth and harmony. Now, if you think about that, what does that mean to you? When you think about the things that you have done to cause some type of action or deed in your life, has it been a good action or has it been a bad action? These are some of the things we need to reflect on as we do our shadow work, right? Because then that'll kind of let us know, okay, looking at my, astrology, looking at my numerology, which is your life path and your moon sign or your rising sign, how do you look at yourself in reference of where that sits, and how do you know yourself, right? Based off of your planetary alignment. Hey, Tantalus. So, the thing of it is that's gonna give you some type of inkling in reference of, okay, well, maybe I do have some karma, or maybe there is some things that I can, pinpoint in reference that could be karmic debt. Now, when you ask yourself about some of those things, the relevance of karmic debt are harmful actions, unfulfilled promises, selfish behavior in past lives that create debts that must be resolved in the current or the future life. Okay, so basically it's telling you here the spiritual lessons. See, because the law of cause and effect goes back to what we know on the moon side of Aries, which is connected to greed. Okay, that's why the law of cause and effect is, one of the main aspects of your karmic debt, you being greedy, you know what I'm saying, or you causing some type of issue because of greed, right? Overly indulging into something that isn't correct, like they said, unfulfilled promises, and oh, I gotta put it back up. Unfulfilled promises and selfish behavior. All those things come about when we're talking about like karmic debt, right? And when we're talking about the law of cause and effect. But the purpose of me showing you this is so you can learn it's the learning process, family, in reference of your karma, the spiritual lessons behind it, the past life influences, and the patterns that are repeated. Okay. A lot of times we wonder, well, why do we have karmic debt? Well, there's many concepts to karmic debt, family, right? The concept of it is just, downright karma. Okay. But like it says here, the core idea is karmic debt exists to teach the soul valuable lessons such as patience and compassion and forgiveness and humility. It's a learning process, family, of challenges and struggles, and it serves as opportunities for the introvert and for personal growth. See? So this is the thing. You're gonna learn through though that karmic debt. You're gonna learn some lessons. And sometimes, I ain't gonna say sometimes, it ain't nice. Okay. It ain't nice. Um, Me as an example, my karmic debt is trying to get my life together in all aspects of things, whether that is me financially getting things together, right? Because I have a childhood or a whole life of family members who may not have known how to deal with money or how to deal with life in general. And if they don't know, how can they teach you, right? So that's a generational, not curse, but I guess so. But it's looked at also as a karmic debt because you're put with that family to learn the lesson in this lifetime. And I'll conquer it by any means necessary. That has to be our mindset. See, because your mindset has to shift. You can't look at yourself and be in pity because of what you wasn't taught. You must teach yourself. You must reevaluate your life and say, okay, this is something that I wasn't taught. This is something that I'm constantly having these situations. And some of it is for you, is not some of it, all of it is a spiritual lesson. You see? So this is a process through the challenges, through the struggle. That's why the answers, that's why when you think about it, some things that, you may feel like, dang, why I'm going through this in life? Why I'm going through that in life? Because you were coming back to learn the lesson all over again. So are you going to learn it this time, or are you going to continue to keep coming back to earth to learn those lessons? You see? So this is why past life influences are major. That's why I started out with the moon energy, because that moon energy that's in our day of birth, which comes down for me, I showed you the Mercury, and you see how that goes back to some things that have happened in my life that I know have probably been either generational curses, something that happened in my prior lifetime, right? Because I have to learn the compassion and the patience and the love and the healing, you see? So this is why the past life influences, like it says here, it carries over, right? Let me push it up. It carries over from previous lives. Karmic debt is believed to stem from unresolved actions, conflict, or patterns in past incarnations. It will impact your present life. These debts manifest as reoccurring challenges, family, even difficult relationships, emotional struggles that will provide a chance for you to resolve it this lifetime. I'm bringing karmic debt up. Even if you're not getting anything out of this, you can research it and start working on your own karmic debt, because it's going to take place for you where you'll be able to not have to be reincarnated into another lifetime to learn the same lesson that you're here to conquer in this lifetime, which is your purpose. So that's why it comes down to patterns. The patterns are repeated situations, okay? Their unresolved karmic debt often leads to reoccurring life events. That's why you may think of like deja vu, or you may know of your past life and you're like, wait a minute, I had a vision, or I dreamed, or I know that I did this in my past life. Why am I dreaming about it? Because it's a reminder. So you'll learn from that situation, or you'll know, okay, if I'm dreaming about it and I was in this situation, it must be another past life. It must have been another life I'm in. Then I know something is making me or reminding me to not reoccur with this situation all over again. Because that is why we have those type of visions and dreams and deja vu, you know. These are reminders of past life things, purposes of patterns. These patterns highlight unresolved issues, and it encourages the individual to break free from any harmful cycles. See, it's about you breaking free from those cycles, the generational curses, the things that are in that wheel that you have the free will to turn and navigate the right way. Okay. You keep having the same issues because you didn't learn the lesson from the last time. That's right. Boom. Exactly. Those are the patterns and the reoccurrences. Exactly what Tantra's saying. Yeah, you definitely got to conquer it this lifetime. Otherwise, you'll be back just in a different way. And then, like Miss T always said, you come back in a whole worse way. You know what I'm saying? And even if it's not in a worse way, it may just be where you, sorry family, I gotta it may be that you have to you may be, let's say, okay, this an example. You may have had a life where it was like, something may have happened in there where you this lifetime. Okay, so let's say, I'm not gonna say us, I'm gonna just say, let's say the people who do abuse, right? Abusers. When this lifetime, if they doing the abuses, when they come back, they're gonna be the ones that get abused. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a repeated pattern. If you break that and you stop that and you don't do that, then you won't have to worry about coming back and learning that lesson again, because next time you're gonna learn it in a worse way. See? So that's what it is. The emotional impact is definitely a part of it, this is a part of what I'm trying to tell you and why you need to work on this as karmic debt, because it's internal struggles. Okay, feeling of guilt and fear and regret may stem from unresolved karmic debt. Karmic debt can definitely put you into depression, having anxiety, because things are unresolved, and sometimes it's like you don't know how to end it, you don't know how to stop it. For some people, it could be an energy imbalance, like it says here. The karmic debt can create blockages in your personal and spiritual journey and your emotional well-being, which that can be rough, because you know what? Some people, they'll put a boundary up, they'll put a wall up in reference of certain of them not even wanting to get on a spiritual journey and come closer to source and the most high and their ancestors, because they feel like they may even know it all. I get a lot of people like that. They may feel like they they have other intentions of doing other things that may be important to them in life. These are all things because of being emotionally and spiritually blocked, where you don't feel nothing in reference of being connected to your higher self. And that's a horrible situation, because then how can you stand on faith? Those are people who question karma. Those are people who don't know how to stand on faith. Those are people who most of the time have very traumatic things that happen in their life, and then they question God and things like that. These are those type of people. Yeah, unbalanced. Yeah, right. Because balance is the key to life. Duality in it all. Okay. So even karmic relationships, family, this is a good one. Okay. The karmic relationships also is about our karmic debt. And a lot of us with life path numbers 8, okay, or you may have a moon of an 8, or you may have a moon of 13. Now they're 13, or a life path of a 13, they're 13 and they're 16, because I say 16 too. For the karmic debt numbers that they give you online, it's a total different meaning, although it's a good meaning, that they give, but they only say 4 numbers and you have karmic debt. That's a lie. Your karmic debt sits in your moon, which is your shadow. Everybody has karmic debt. See, so that's the part I don't agree with now that I know the latter, okay? And I know my will, and I know spiritual astrology and how the ancestors have basically said, yes, this is confirmation, right? Even in your numerology, that everybody has it. It's about you knowing self, right? So the karmic relationships, certain intense or challenging. Oh, I forgot to put it back up. Sorry, family. Okay, so certain intense and challenging relationships are believed to be karmic in nature, meaning that it's meant to resolve debt between souls, between two people. Those are those soulmates, right? Or twin flames, or whatever they may call it. The purpose is for the relationship to often test the emotional maturity, forgiveness, and unconditional love. Goes back to Diamos, goes back to Ganymede, it goes back to Enceladus, and a lot of the planetary alignment goes back to a lot in reference of um, Scorpio, right? It goes back to Phobos. I mean, we could keep going down the list in reference Rhea. You know, it's a lot of planets that this energy could go towards with relationship issues, even going all the way up, like we've discussed, you know, the realms 36 and 37 and all these higher up realms and things that you can be on in your life, family. Karmic debt. You see? But it's for you to learn the lesson this lifetime, for you to conquer. So this brings us back to the numerology. Now here you see on the what they have in the system, they're saying the numerology for karmic debt is only specific numbers 13, 14, 16, and 19. Those are some karmic numbers, but that ain't the only ones, family. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you that. Okay, your karmic debt comes from in reference of your actual we want to get into the wheel talk, but that's a whole nother talk. But where I actually look at it is in reference of, for you guys here, your moon element, your moon sign, and your life path. Those are the two to start with, okay? Because most people know those, right? But the karmic debt numbers, that's how they get to them on, you know, the websites all over. You can look it up. What is a karmic debt? They're going to take you back to how you get your life path number, which in most times, you know, the life path number for most people, they look at the 22s and the 11s and the 33s and all of that. You can look at that number if you want to, and you can get even worse in reference to your life path, because that's a whole nother planetary alignment. But most of the time, we're going to start with what it is that is your life path number. That's a single digit, okay? So you see how they have the life path numbers only, I mean, the karmic debt numbers as specific numbers. They have 13, 14, 16, and 19 are considered the karmic debt numbers in the Western, okay? And this is not spiritual astrology. And in their numerology, they said they're highlighted life areas that require resolution. Okay. They say the planetary placements such as Saturn. See, they look at just Saturn as being the planet of karma, when in actuality, it's really Neptune. You know, it's really Neptune. But we'll get into that. But past life karma and so forth is your south node. Now, I do agree with that in the verdict, and it provides clues of unresolved debt. And then it just tells you about free will and so forth, and it goes on and on and on. But I wanted to get to some of these things here that I want you guys to look at in reference of how to identify you have karmic debt in some aspect of your will, in some aspect of your astrology chart, in some aspect of your life. Okay, that has flowed into your life from, you know, circumstances of your past in this lifetime, or circumstances from something that you haven't learned from a previous lifetime. Okay, so repeated patterns. Okay, unexplained fears and phobias. Okay, chronic health issues. Okay, emotional triggers, unexplainable attractions and repulsions towards people. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer on that and say lust. Okay. Karmic debt. And then it has reoccurring dreams or nightmares. All right. Synchronicities, deja vu, like I told you, experiences, right? Strong guilt or responsibility. And then it says feeling stuck or stagnant. Okay, these are some of the ways of how to identify the karmic debt, and then past life things. Okay, a lot of times, like I said, with all of these and going through some of them, these are just some. There is other ways of how to reflect on those things. Okay. Now, this goes back to what I told you guys, that if you look up karmic debt online, and you say, what's my karmic debt number, or what is karmic debt, they're going to bring you back to this calculation. Okay. But this calculation is the calculation for your life path. Okay. What to start you with that. Okay. Hey, Ebony. I'm sorry, I didn't see you, boo. So your life path, right? And a lot of you may know your life path. My life path is 8. Okay. 8. Now you see 8 ain't even on the list. Okay. So how is that 8 is not on the list? And I do have karmic debt from my past or my past life, in reference of what I need to do to heal thyself with that karmic debt. Well, knowing spiritual astrology, 8 is Leo. Okay. I have a Leo sun. Okay. I birthed a Leo. All right. But also 8 is about Diama's energy. Okay. So I'm using myself as an example. Okay. But remember, when you look up karmic debt, all they're going to tell you is to add up. See it right here. For example, you're supposed to add up your whole birthday. So if your birthday is 1/1/1990, they gave you the way to calculate it, which is 11119 plus 9 plus 0 equals 22. So that person would be a 22. So they gave the 22 message down here of this number indicates that you have karmic debt to learn to use your gifts and your talents to help others. Now, 22 is Uranus. Okay. And 22 would tell me a lot about what has happened either in this lifetime for you or your past lifetime. Uranus can tell us a lot about some things that are really in the shadow, because 2 and 2 comes down to 4, which is moon. And moon element is all about the shadow. Okay. It's all about that darkness. It's all about the things we suppress, we hide. Okay. And what is that? It's that Uranus energy that is your life path, that's going to be on your life path. You may have been molested, some type of sexual assault, some type of situation where it's manipulation, basically, in your life, trickery. You see? So your life path is going to tell you a lot more than just you using your gifts and helping others. You see? So that's what I'm trying to tell you in reference of the karmic debt. You really need to really know about in detail and tapping in with your ancestors, right? Having that connection, and also knowing planetary alignment is a good thing as well. But your karmic debt, I can tell you more to what your karmic debt would be based off of your life path and your moon, because I told you how that moon showed before. But my life path going into me would be 8. Okay. 8 is Leo energy. Okay. Leo energy is about what? It's about love, right? Healing, right? So I have had many things in my past life that have come up about relationships, about love, about compensation. Okay. Because 8 in Leo is the law of compensation. But not only that, 8 is about, if I wanted to really get specific with the planetary alignment, is about Diamos. Diamos is all about, having an open heart, healing and things of that sort, right? But it's also about other things that can get a little tricky, right? So I'm saying all this to say, family, you must know thyself, okay? Don't get tricked in reference of the things that people aren't telling you, and then not knowing knowing how and what happens to you in life. You know what I'm saying? Like even with in my 8, right, that comes from my life path number, like I said, that Leo energy goes back to, you know, the messenger of love. My son is a Leo, so he is to give me the message of love. He is to show me that unconditional love. And I'm also a Leo in the South Node. So you see how that works out for me in my past life, because I know I have a past life where I've had a multitude of relationships with lovers who have passed on to the spiritual realm. In my past life, that's happened to me. And in this life, it's happened to me. You see? So these are the things that you can see in your life path that are karmic debt, unresolved issues, things that are patterns, some that seem as deja vu. So I want you to kind of think about that. You know, knowing your life path number is going to be very distinct for you. You know, Miss T is going over that right now with some of you that are in my spiritual family, where you're able to know that, and she talks about your will, and she goes into a lot of details just like this, which it's your karmic debt. It's your karmic debt. But see, your karmic debt is for you to be able to turn that wheel and learn which way to go with free will of how to get out of that karmic debt. Because your life path is just that, the number to turn your path the way you should be learning that lesson here in this lifetime to conquer it. You see? So don't get it twisted, family. These numbers, yeah, they give you the small explanation, but it's many things behind that. So start thinking about and doing this, right? If you know how to go and get your date of birth and write it down single digitally, and tell me, some of you put your life path numbers in the chat, and we'll look at a few while I'm on here, because we're getting ready to wrap it up. But I wanted to bring this to y'all attention so you can start paying attention to some things. And it all goes back to the law of cause and effect. This is a universal law, karmic debts. Okay. We all are governed by it on this universe. Okay. Because it's one of the universal laws. That's why we have karmic debt. But this is one that carries reign over your life. So when people say they don't believe in karma, you need to laugh at them because they're living their karma. They're living their life path. They're living their karmic debt. And I'm sure those that say they don't believe in karma, they don't know the way on their path, but it's free will. 32, which is 5. Yeah, okay. So sis, you know, right? So you looking at both of them, right? So you looking at that 32, right? And then you looking at that 5. And then you breaking it down to that 3 or that 2, right? So you got a little piece of it all in there. But that 32, you know, you have to look at yourself in reference of the that realm of that physical power. Yeah, spiritual realm, right? But then on top of that, you have that earth that's in there, which is Leo element, and you are what? A Leo. But you know also the things that you have to do. Leos are all about that healing, about the love. You're gonna learn something through that this lifetime that you're gonna have to conquer. Also, that's mother energy. So your energy of being a mother here is gonna teach you a lot of lessons. And also Andromeda with that 32 is definitely going to teach you a lot of lessons. That's the planet of interference. So you're going to have so many interferences that's going to happen in your life. And it could be also reflecting of being the mother. Also in reference of healing many things. That's why a lot of times we always say, yes, I'm going to have to do a lot of shadow work. Yes, because look at your life path. So your life path carries a lot in it. Selfless love, selfless services, you know, all these things in Andromeda, but you're very spiritually powerful. So you have that might. And plus earth element, you can handle anything earth, right? Like Miss T always tell us. But you know, pineal gland, all that stuff, family, powerful, powerhouse, you know? Yeah, that's how you know. Mm-hmm. But that's also, you know how we have the duality. You know what I'm saying? That's your powerhouse. You know what I'm saying? But that's also to teach you. You know what I'm saying? It's also to teach you, sis. Yeah. 33 and 6. Honey, that's that lion's den. But then the lion's den is what you win. The lion's den, and then you got the Mars on top of it. Your life will always have something aggressively happening. You see? Always have something aggressively happening. And the way to conquer that, right? With that lion's den, the lion's den is definitely about, you'll always have somebody. And look at this, family. That's what I want to show y'all. Look at the 33 that's here, right? Listen to what it say. This number indicates that you have a karmic debt to learn to be a spiritual leader and guide others. You see that? Because you do. That 33, that lion's gate, right? You are to be the spiritual leader. You are. That 6 comes back down to you being very, very high priestess, right? Which they always call us witches, right? But it's in your life path. That's your strength. But also helping others, on their spiritual path. But then they always put you in that lion's den to knock you off the path so you won't be able to do that. Because if you in the lion's den and you worried about the lion coming to get you all the time, you can't be focused on helping anybody else. You trying to help yourself. You see? That's how your life path looks, although they just tell you want to be a spiritual leader. No, I'm in the lion's den every day trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make it through, That's the real 33 with that Mars, with that 6. That's what it is, family. Okay? So that Mars energy is ferocious. You know what I'm saying? On the ladder, that Mars, go to that, Eldra, that Mars energy on the ladder. It gives you a lot in reference to what you need to know about the mercy and the forgiveness. You need a lot of that in your life. It's all about you learning that in this life path, Eldra. You learning to have mercy and for people to give you mercy as well, forgiving, right? Yeah. A lot of things going on with that Mars, right? You got a lot, communication and things like that. Your skills, all that. It comes down to all of that for you, Eldra. All of that. Yeah, trying to, exactly, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Queen on your, right. Mm-hmm. My mom's is teaching Bible study tonight at her church. Just got here. I watched the replay. The rest of that. Okay. Have a good night, love. Have a good night. Grace and mercy. Yes, Eldra. Yes, absolutely. All right. And yours is 6. You same thing. Same thing. 24. 24 is 24 is umbrella. Okay. That rim is very strong as well. But you also got some things going on that rim, right? Towards your life. If you really think about that rim is about inward inflictions that you can incur, is what we were taught. So basically, ancestors say you can treat yourself and heal thyself from any situations. You have the power in the 24 and the 6. Although those numbers are very harsh and aggressive, it comes down to a lot of 24, 2 and 4. That's moon and Mercury. Okay, so you got a lot of hidden stressors and maybe even toxic things and abuse and things that have happened even in your home life in the past or even past lives that you're supposed to learn the lesson now and change those things for yourself. It's about communication for you. You need to learn some things through that in this lifetime as well, Miss Sharon. That is why you have so many supernatural things that happen in your life. You are the high priestess. You see? Didn't even know on your life path. You'll continue to keep seeing things. That's the spiritual realm. Tapping in with you. That moon in Uranus. So a lot of things in Uranus and things, working on things, saying no, right, okay, yeah. You've had a lot of things that happen in your life. I can just look at it in reference of your life path, right? Secrets and deception in your living conditions and within relationships and so forth. All of that is there, right? Yeah. but you're to learn the lesson now through all of what you've been through, to change, to conquer that, right? Bring darkness to light, release it, repent, meditate, ask for mercy, honor your ancestors, and you move through that, right? Then you won't have to repeat that lesson over again. A lot of people do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Music is so common. That's that Beethoven in the background. Yeah. Ooh, we Queen of Firmament. Ashe. Now I see what you're saying, sis. Ashe. Firmament down, sis. Oh my God. Moon energy, huh? Water. You need to be dealing with everything in water. Fatima. You powerful there. You got a lot. That life path is something, okay? But one thing about it, you know, answers always say, planetary alignment don't lie, okay? With your lesson here on earth is to use discernment throughout that element, Fatima. That is your main. What does the firmament mean? The firmament means, it's a lot to comprehend, but it is, just know that it is a spiritual realm, okay, in reference of the planets. And we're discussing planetary alignment, okay? So these are all planets that we're discussing and telling you about, okay? A lot of them, they have them listed as asteroids and things of that sort, okay? But they're really planets. And the firmament is definitely all about as above, so below, right? Crossing the waters, right? A lot of it, of what you may need to know, is that, you know, your lesson here on this earth, based off of you being and having firmament on your life path, is that you must operate out of integrity at all costs. You must bring everything to the light, because your life will be a shadow. Your life is already stuck, and not stuck, but has a lot of 4, right? 4 is moon. So that's moon. Okay. I talked about moon a lot. And moon is the darkness. But you can bring things to the light to move out of that darkness. Okay. That's why ancestors say you got to use discernment. Okay. Crossing that water. Yes. Okay. And it's the realm of emotions. Yeah, it's very heavy. But you know what? That 31 come back down to 4, which moon is water as well, which is about emotions. And 31 is the realm of emotions. So you'll go through a lot of emotional things, because that's something you are to learn. And it's something that's happened in your previous lifetime. That karmic debt has flowed into this lifetime. And so the ancestors is the same with that 31. You're going to have a lot of sacrifices in reference of things and interruptions, and you're going to need a lot of interventions in your life of things that may occur. You see, traumas and dramas and things of that sort. But you are to learn a lesson through that. That's why ancestors say you must operate out of integrity. If you operate out of integrity, the duality of it is that you'll be, you know, healing and love. You put that out, and that's what you'll get back. See? So although it's negative to all of it, it's still positive as well. So always remember, ain't nothing just negative or it's out of balance. So it's always a duality in anything I tell y'all about. Okay? So yeah, I am an emotional being. Yeah. Child, with that, I know you are, because the ancestors is showing it. You have, it's a lot in reference of being on that emotional realm. So just understand that. And now that gives you a head up and free will to know that you're functioning out of mainly water. So that's your power. Use your weaknesses as your strength to fight through your trials and your tribulations and everything. Whenever you feel like you're not grounded, go get in some water. It does it for me every time, because I'm a 4 in the spiritual realm, right? So I already know. Like yesterday, I felt crappy. I went and got in some water. I took my spiritual bath. I feel like $1,000,000 today. You see what I'm saying? Telling you from experience. And I'm an emotional being as well. They'll tell you. I'm always crying and stuff. But yes, family. So that's when she say the firmament, that's what that means, you know? And make sure you're taking care of your nervous system, you know? Make sure you're taking care of your nervous system. Yes. Clear up some karmic debt. Right. Yes. You can use the pyramids and everything. Right. I ain't getting to all of that, but yes, sis. Yes. Yes, sis. Okay. My spiritual family be on it, honey. We learn from the best. Okay. But also to know is to not know, right? So also Fatima with that 31 and 4 with that firmament is selfless love. Also show yourself selfless love and show others selfless love. That's how you fight through that karmic debt, sis. Okay. But it's also some things that are in the shadow in reference of things that may have happened in your past life to you, for you to know, you know, something or to do something different in this lifetime. Okay. So that life path is also about knowing how to love, because some people may not love you the right way with that energy. Okay. So love is a big thing of that. Doing the bath tonight? Yes, sis, I did mine yesterday. You did too? Yeah, I took my spiritual bath, honey. And then this morning in the morning message, it was cleansing. Yes, sis. And I think I did your will. So in your will, I probably talked about it if I did your will. So go back to your will reading, because all y'all readings I keep up. I don't never delete readings. You can go right back to your link that I sent you and click on it and watch the whole reading forever. Okay, so I'm sure I talked about that. I don't know, but I probably did, because I always talk about your what came out in, you know. So yes, so that's you, Shug. I think I did everybody's in the chat. But yes, family, those I just want to, but I wanted to show you. But look at what's this. Before I get off of here, look at what they give us. The 13 karmic. They only say 13, but it's many, right? So they say the 13 indicates that you have karmic debt to learn to be independent and self-sufficient. That's Ganymede. That's about you not giving to other people all the time and being people pleasing. Okay. But they talk about the same thing, be independent. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of like talking about it a little bit, but they not really talking about it, you know? Child, nobody loves me the right way if you ask me. See what I'm saying? But that's why we be emotional too, you know? Queen say it the same. So I say the same thing. But you got a lot of love and healing in your chart too, you know? So we all do, you know? So yeah. And then it says, look at this, family, 14, which is Callisto. The number indicates that you have a karmic debt to learn to forgive and let go of the past. Well, Callisto is about you, and it's about inviting people and summoning people in. So yeah, that would be about right. 16 is the Solidos. It's for you to learn to love and accept yourself instead of taking on all the sins of anybody else. Okay? You have to look your number up. Okay, we'll work it out. Work it out. Matter of fact, let me know. You probably might know if you go back to your will, because I think I might have did your will. I don't know. I have to look up my number when I get home in the morning. I have written it down. Don't remember whether it was a 4 or 6. Take your whole birthday, baby, and just add it up single digitly, and bring it down to those 2 numbers, and then the single number. Then that's what it is. Yeah. And then if you look here, 44, it says, which would be an 8, it says the karmic debt to learn to be of service to others and help them in their time of need. Which, listen, they're all pretty good. You know what I'm saying? They're all pretty good in reference of explanation. You know what I'm saying? But they're off when it comes to the true spiritual message of your life path. All right. So all in all, I just wanted to show you guys and to talk to you guys about the true karmic debt and how it lies in your moon and in your life path. For just you guys here, it's way more. It is. But that's me going into the wheel, me having to tell you and break down every planet. But I just gave y'all a splash, okay? But if you know your life path and your moon, you can start deep diving, which you already know by what you're living in this lifetime, what you challenges and what you're going through, repeated patterns. I gave you some of the aspect of how to recognize it, even if you don't even know the planets in the astrology. I told you and broke it down at the beginning in a summary. Go back and watch how to recognize where you have karmic debt, unresolved lessons that you keep having happen over and over and over, relationships like that you keep getting in, that you have it over and over and over. That comes back to healing, love, you know, changing your mindset, you know. So yes, family, it's many things that you can really do in reference of your shadow self, because this is shadow work sessions. We talking about the part that we don't like to talk about, or the part that we don't like to deep dive into because it don't feel good when we talk about it, and when we start looking at ourselves and all the things that we've had happen that aren't great. But it's a must do. It's a must do. Okay. So I love you guys. We've been on here an hour and 5 minutes. I could talk to y'all for forever. Okay. This was supposed to be a short shadow work session. It was supposed to only be 30 minutes. But y'all know I can get on here and start talking spiritual astrology. I go on and on. And then I wanted to show you guys by some examples of your own, you know. So, but yes, family. And if you have your number or you want to get to your number later on, just DM me or, you know, contact me and we'll talk about it or whatever. Okay. But or get a wheel reading. That's what y'all should be getting, the ones that haven't, because a lot of you have, so you know your wheel, so you can go back and watch it and listen, and you'll hear some of the same things that I probably talked about your life path, because the wheel is your life path. Okay. So yes, family. All right. So this was your shadow work sessions. I will see you guys tomorrow on Thursday night insight at 6:30, family. I enjoyed it. I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't want it to end. I know, love. All right, family. Peace, peace, peace. I love y'all. I'll see y'all soon. See y'all tomorrow. I'll be here for daily message in the morning and Thursday night insight. Good night, Eldra. See you, Tantalus. You welcome, love. You welcome. I see y'all. Bye, Sharon. I see y'all. You welcome. Much love to y'all. I see y'all. Peace, family. Peace.